Word of the cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, the momentous time has come. The moment our throngs of poker study fans been waiting for. It's Monday again, the first Monday in June, and it's time to look over hand histories with all cards exposed. A monumental day in the history of poker education. Thank you for coming along. Please like and subscribe. All
Yeah,
right,
good,
Mike.
good intro, Larry.
Yeah, I'm full of it.
I
I
think
can really blow out bullshit if I want
Scotty has his competition, I think, for the intros.
to.
Scotty's, hello, everybody. So, yeah, so we'll just we'll go through hands with all cards face up, so we get an idea of what this is. A 50 no limit on ignition, and we get a sense for what's actually happening out there. We do, a lot of us kind of study with solvers and try to see what best lines are based on GTO play. This method allows us to see inside the minds of the 50 NL players out there. So here we go. And then as a drill, as an exercise, we like to kind of look at the hands exposed and decide what would be a correct play. Not really worried about what we think will happen. We know some people are going to flat hands they shouldn't. They're going to call hands, raise hands they shouldn't. But we like to kind of exercise this with where would we be with the current hands exposed. So with this table up here, we would see a fold all the way through. I think maybe King 5 suited may have a frequency of raising in the charts, a low frequency at that early position. But Ace Queen would definitely open here. And I'd like to confirm this. So we'll occasionally consult the charts to see, and we usually use the GTO Wizard starting ranges as our sort of tool to check ranges. So under the gun +1, we do see King 5 actually is a pretty hefty 50% frequency raise, King 5 suited. But Ace Queen would raise, and it would, if it is raised before him, that he's going to have a lot of folds or 3-bets. But here we go. Let's see what happens. So the King
I'm
5.
surprised that King 5 suited has a mix there that early. I just looking at the ranges, the 9-max ranges myself.
Even
I didn't know that we're supposed to mix the suited King X down there.
Yeah, even all the way full 9-max ring here, all the way up to under the gun.
Yeah, I assume it's just because Ace King. I assume that's just because yeah, we're drawing some nuts. Blocking kings, Ace King, King Queen.
Yeah, good blockers. And again, I'm not the best person to articulate why this is the case, but for sure. And if King 5 had raised, this Ace Queen, I'm pretty sure is going to be a fold a lot of the times. Let's just take a look at that.
This early, I think you're right.
And that's
yeah, I'm not so sure about these EP 9-max ranges. It's kind of a tricky spot.
So, mic check, mic check.
Ace King.
Little skate.
Hey, hey.
So we can see Ace Queen's folding almost pure
Yeah.
to the next size. In the low jack, it's probably going to just get a little, yep, it gets a little bit more frequent. In the hijack, which is the position on that table, yeah, you can see it's just folding a lot of the times. And all the way down, let's see, cutoff, and then button.
We get flats, we get to begin to flat.
Yep, get a little bit of flatting on the button.
Hey, MSI, how you doing? Should I just call you MSI, or do you go by a different name? I forget. So I think this okay, no worries, MSI. I think that this Ace Queen off is the hand that freaks out tournament players the most when they look at cash ranges for the first time. It's like, what we fold ace queen.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, it just speaks to the stack depth and the reverse blind odds of this hand.
Yeah, we've heard that a lot with the tournament players that come in and look at some of these hands with us. And yeah, we get a lot of that. Oh my gosh, why are we folding these hands? But now we see
Oh,
our
we got a
first,
limp.
yeah, we see our first glimpse at the pool, the mistakes that people are making. So there's a offsuit ace that limps in. So ace queen should be a pure 3-bet at this point, or not a 3-bet, a pure raise. They go really big.
That is so we've got a broken stack here. Going to a big size. This is a very, novel approach here.
And it should fold back around is what should happen. And the ace four
Wow.
makes the call. So we
This
know that,
is why we make money.
yeah, for sure. So now we're going to see what happens post flop with these players.
Hey, Chris, welcome to the group. Yeah, so I like his sizing here. This is, I always talk about the Jeremiah Williams sizing here. And, oh, by the way, Jeremiah Williams is returning to streaming for a couple days this month. He's just gonna stream some WSOP bracelet events. But this kind of generic B50 we don't see often in solver, but Jeremiah Williams really liked this sizing after the ISO Olympic.
And he gets the fold. So yeah,
Yeah.
just an unusual raise size from the broken stack, but otherwise pretty standard. You'd expect to see it. This flop maybe not necessarily going to get a super high frequency continuation bet, but especially with a hand like ace queen. But certainly versus players that are just calling super wide. All right, next hand. This one should get to the king queen, should raise and take it.
Yeah. We can take. So
And there
this, so let's talk about this ISO. Do you, so we know the rule around taking the range one or two steps ahead and using that as your ISO range. Do you think it's one position ahead or two positions ahead to you here?
Well, that's sort of a system that that's Joey's system, right?
Yeah, it's Joey's.
So you get a limper, and then now take your range. Like for example, in this hand, the king queen here is on the button. You would say take two steps, two positions back. So take your hijack range and use that as your ISO range. Is that the case?
Yeah, and I think it makes sense. He might have been a little bit tighter here, but I like that. I like that rule. Obviously, I think everything changes if you're out of position. But it's, in another exploit that Peter Clark talks about a lot, Carrot Corner, is you're owning the button now, right? So we like that. We're owning the button. Even if we get some people that flat our ISO, we're going to play in position. So I like actually maybe even a little bit of a wider range to ISO here because I'm guaranteed position.
Me too. I kind of would probably maybe just take my normal typical button raising range and include some overcalls. Like I would probably overcall more often than I would if it was folded to me. Like I would raise all the hands. I would just call like small pairs, connectors, but then raised all the hands that I would normally raise anyway on the button.
Yeah, I think I've got a little bit of a overload strat, but I think I mostly have an ISO range because I'm guaranteed position. But I do have overloads too.
Now this limp is from a broken stack, 26, 27 big blinds. Normally I would make this raise and make it pot size, so it would be 4.5. But with a broken stack, does it make sense to not necessarily have to make it as big as you normally would?
My argument would be that we do want to make it still 4.5, and that's because You know, a different motivation is avoiding a multi-way hand. So yeah, because I would go to 4.5 even against broken stack, because I'm not as motivated about adjusting to the limper's size. I'm more motivated about giving me a higher frequency of a heads up pop and generating folds.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is too small.
Well,
And
yeah, would you adjust depending on limper's stack size?
yeah, I do. I have
Okay,
adjusted, and I would, instead of 4.5, I would probably just make it 4.
okay.
And it's right, it's the stack to pot ratio that we're just sort of managing, right? So when you have full stacks, you make it 4.5 because you've got full stacks. Whereas here, your stack to pot ratio is going to be considerably less than if you had full stacks. So you can make it smaller and still be somewhat theoretically in your range.
Yeah, yeah. There is an issue with having an awkward SPR flop.
So we get the limp call. And again, we like to see into the minds of the players that are out there.
This is why we make money. This is where we profit.
Yeah, and that should just get it done. Oh my goodness. So we get some really erratic play.
So this is a very interesting spot. I don't think this click back, I don't think there's any. Let's look at this SPR. What's this SPR now? We are at 1. So I don't think there's any reason to imposition re-raise here. I think we just flat, especially blocking flush draw.
Yeah, blocking the flush too. Yeah.
Yeah, let them hang themselves exactly. Yeah. So this is also you are a
And they are
85%
rewarded.
favorite.
They are rewarded.
And they are rewarded. That's part
and
of the game.
MSI is asking, are we calling down a hand like King 9 suited as well? I would probably have raised King 9 suited pre-flop and get this flop and we get the little min raise. I maybe would have checked the flop, however, with King 9 as opposed to continuation betting, but I don't know. I would probably still call down, yes.
Yeah, I mean, our reverse implied odds are just a lot less here.
Mm-hmm.
So our pairs, in theory, are worth this SPR.
Yeah, much more valuable, right? So on the flop, let's assume we have King 9 of clubs, let's say, King 9 of clubs. He checks. I might check back King 9 here. As a,
We have to triple, I think, king 9. But the question I'm asking is basically he clicks back and we have king 9. And in general, when we click back, I think we have pretty strong. Unless like the side is special and we're weak. But on European sides, we are like very strong when we click back on the flop.
Yeah, I mean, I think oftentimes people are strong with the click back. You're
So
right.
like king queen, okay, we call down, but like king 9 is already crying, so I'm asking.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we begin to get into being indifferent at that. But I think it comes back to SPR, right? I think that we just have to reevaluate the value of our top pairs when we're on those short stacks.
next hand, King Queen open from under the gun 9-handed is definitely an open. It's got, I think it mixes in some folds. It's not a pure open from under the gun. I remember seeing this is kind of unusual. Yeah, see, it's actually got a little tiny bit of fold. But what I find interesting in that it raises more often than Ace Jack does.
Right.
Why did it hide his cards? All right, so King Queen can open, it can fold. I think I open it pure. They go for the raise, and it should fold around to the big blind. So 10-9 in the small blind flats.
Yeah, so we're seeing awful profitable play. I
Yeah.
would call this, yeah, this 7-6 is a call. Yeah. Especially when you're against full size.
Yeah, 10-9 should fold. 6-7 is a defend. And versus a min raise, I think it's probably just pure call, but maybe there's some three betting. I want to kind of look at this.
Maybe. I wonder if we do get 3 bets with this region of our range against the UTG spot.
So we did get the min raise here. I'm going to ignore the small blind because I just want to see what we should defend with 6-7 suited. Yeah, it's tiny
Yeah,
little,
get a
tiny little bit,
sliver.
tiny little bit
on
of
it.
free betting. So, all right. I don't know why this disappears every time. Little spot right here. Click. All right. So here we go. 3-way to the flop with.
Interesting. So I got a question here. Let's go back one notch. Okay, so I'm not finding these. And I'm not sure what a check raise range looks like multi-way. But I would imagine if you are gonna have a check raise range multi-way on the big blind in the middle of the sandwich, it's gotta be a combo and a texture like this.
Sure.
I cannot think of any time in which I check raise multi-way. Probably I need to change that a little bit, but I gotta think this is in.
I would think so too. It's certainly within the docking range. Like if we look at this heads up, if there was no small blind here and we get this flop and you're sitting here in the big blind with 6-7, I'm going to bet it's 80% solver likes to donk here, like almost pure.
Yeah, and whenever we see a donking range, we know there's gonna be a very healthy check raise in there. And
Yeah.
MSI, yeah, I think 6-7 at diamonds is probably an even better check raise.
So we're going to see, 70%.
Yeah. So let's look at our check raise frequency to just real quick here to a check from big blind and whatever the most popular size is.
And that hand in particular and everything around it is just like almost pure.
Yeah.
So they check, let's say.
You might even get small bets here. Actually, he does. He gets small bets. Actually, only small bets. So if you small bets, I'm gonna guess 18%. Well, yeah, actually, it is around 18%, which
Yeah.
to me is a very healthy check raise frequency.
And that hand in particular is like, what are we, hearts? But 7-6 suited. I mean, look at your check raise frequency.
Yeah, MSI called out the 7-6, the value of 7-6 here too. It's almost pure check raise. 7-6 done. All right, so this checks through in this case, right?
Yeah, and we've had this question come up before when it's multi-way. So we know we've seen this heads up way, but now we've got this third player in here. And I don't know how that affects donking ranges. Like, should we still kind of maintain that donking range that we would have, or even the check raise range that we would have multi-way?
Yeah,
don't know how
yeah,
it changes.
multi-way. I think you have so much equity here. I mean, the first question I would ask is, can you call a raise? And the answer is, I think, assuming it's not a shove or a ridiculous sizing. Yeah, you call a raise. So MSI just saved a screenshot from Prometheus for us. Just shows a screenshot. So MSI is this is donking frequency on flop. Okay. So we do have a little bit of a donk on this. This is interesting. So I don't know anything about multiple donking frequency. So what's our global donking frequency? Probably around. Do we know what our global donking frequency is? Looks like it's around 20%, maybe 15%.
And this is also with a low jack raise. I think it goes up even higher when the position is earlier.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're
because he's
under
gonna have
the
a more
gun.
clearly defined range, isn't he? Thanks, MSI. That is
Yeah, that's good to see.
formative.
But it is not as prevalent.
Yeah. So, okay, so what would you do, or anybody in chat, or anybody who wants to speak up? I think that this hand is good enough to bet now on turn.
This was the check raise, I think he said.
I think this is, no, this is donking frequency. So this is on flop donk frequency.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. The other one was check raise?
Oh, is this a new one? Did you put two in? Sorry.
Yeah, this is a different one.
Oh, sorry, this is, okay, sorry, I missed that. This is, I'm not sure. Is there a chat? What's in
Like
chat?
check.
Oh, we just changed the positions. If you want, MSI, you can,
I mean,
do you want to
it's not
share your
just-
screen? And we can show it, or we'll move on, whichever you,
Up to you, I can share, I don't know.
okay. Do you want to do that for a second, Mike?
Yeah.
Let me see. Where do I click to share?
Okay, you just, so there's a green button at the bottom called share screen.
Oh, I see, I see, I see.
And when you click it, probably just want to share application. It's probably a lot less
I
compute
saw,
intensive for
I
you.
have one screen anyway.
Okay, so what are we looking at here? So we're looking at low jack RFI, small blind flat, big blind call, on flop, what's our donkey frequency, right?
So that's small blind flatting range.
Okay,
He's
so this is
some
small blind
leads.
range.
He has some leads, but not much.
Small blind checks, and now we've got a
Yeah, no-
significant donking range.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is
Uh,
interesting.
But like
Yep.
small blind also leads decent amount. Everyone wants to lead. Because big like under the gun like is screwed.
So, s-
Why is it? Oh, never mind.
can you show, so we are donking shit dunk, and I not know, use a technical term, and I did not know what our donking frequency was for multi-line.
Spades don't like to lead.
It's very interesting.
Wait, what? Queen high spades not leading, king high spades are leading. Ace high mixing. Like queen high spades too weak to lead. Wait, well, I'm figuring myself. Two overcards with a spade is also not leading that much. So it's weird.
Well, I guess if we were to look at this, I mean, they're just gonna dunk across the entire range, which makes sense. I mean, they're gonna
Yeah,
dunk.
but like 10-4 of spades is not leading at all. For example, peer check induced of spades. And diamonds are like leading a bit. And induced is also not leading. It's like pretty weird. Queen is like anyway. So we basically need king high flush draw or ace high flush draw. And overs are blocked. Over are bluffs.
What about our sets? Are we leaving super high freak with like 6, 5s, 4s? Yeah. In the solve. What about our flop set, which we're repping? Is that-
What? Oh wait,
I'm sorry, our flop straight. So 7, 8 is very high freak.
so okay. Wait, I need to turn off my fans.
And a wrap. Okay, cool.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good to see. We've had that question quite a bit.
Yeah,
And
I
it look-
didn't know that we would get that much.
It looks like it tracks, like still similar, maybe slightly less, but
It does track. Yeah, I mean, this is just like a perfect on.
yeah.
board.
So we got it just basically a check through. And
Okay.
yeah, he winds up getting trips. And that should take care of it.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so
Hey, so, but MSI brings up a good point. So on the flop, it checks through, right? And then when it does check through, let's say this is just a kind of a blank. Let's say a jack of clubs or something.
Yeah.
I think you're now, because you've had such a pretty high frequency check raising range, that you can start betting now. You could lead. Let's say that was a jack instead of a 6. And
agreed.
you're with 6, 7. Like you can start betting.
Yeah.
So anyway, next hand. So this should get to ace king should open. Ace queen on the button probably has some calls and a little bit of 3-betting and possibly some folding to, what is that, low jack +1. But
By the way, our hero is on a pretty profitable table here. We've got a lot of broken stacks playing. Got a lot of recreation.
yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. Ace king should definitely raise. He limps.
This is interesting. So he's clearly limp trapping.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? Like, because he's the broken stack. He's the guy who played what was it, 8-3 or 8-6 off and called a raise, called an ISO. Who knows what he's thinking? But yeah,
But-
you would imagine this is a limp trap as opposed to oh gosh, I don't have a hand yet. It's ace king. It's a drawing hand.
So the question, let me ask you this question. Well, I mean, ace up, it's a little bit harder to answer, but okay, let's P4, let's say he ISOs and he gets re-raised. Well, never mind. But in the hypothetical, if you get ISO'd here, if you get re-raised after you ISO from this out of position limper, I think ace queen off falls into your fold range.
Yeah, if ace king raised, if ace king ISO'd and you get to, if you have ace queen on the button.
I mean, this is like the most obvious trap spot because it's early position.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you fold at pretty high frequency ace queen off.
Yeah, yeah, at somewhat frequency. That's what I was going to look at, because low jack +1 here, because I did want to look at this to see what ace queen does to a normal raise. And it's going to have, I think it's going to have some folds.
I agree. I think I can fold it.
So this is where
Spot.
that was, you get to the button and you're hitting your ace queen. No, it's, you got to defend, you got to at least call. Okay, there's no folding. But once you get the limp and an ISO, this I think starts to see some blue in ace queen, I think.
Yeah, probably.
But they limp behind with ace queen. I would, if it were me, I would be, now I'd be ISOing 2 players.
I would ISO and I would fold to a read.
Yeah, for sure.
Because now, I mean, so this ace queen has gone down significantly in value multi-way. And now let's hope the ace king limper gets punished for being naughty with this trap. So he goes big. So I think this reduces the frequency of ace 2 check raising. He just went big into 5 people. This is maybe a little bit of pot entitlement.
The
I've
fact
got
that
a
he goes
great
big,
hand and not in this.
the fact that he goes big here tells me that you're right. He was limp trapping. He thinks this is like a premium hand now. Like he
Yeah.
still hasn't. He's now gone from, I'm gonna limp trap. Oh, they all check or they all limp behind. I still have ace king. I'm gonna like bet big because it's still a premium. But whereas it's no longer a premium hand.
I'm gonna talk about one part here. You guys ever heard the term pot entitlement tilt?
No, but I can
Nope.
I can, based on your phrasing, I can certainly see what's happening.
Yeah, so this is like, this to me looks like pot entitlement tilt, where he's He's like, I've got a super premium. I love this ace king. I missed. I'm going to merge it AF and I'm just gonna bet big into 4 people. So then he checked. Now this is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I take the sizing. I mean, what you're not getting called by worse. You're essentially turning your bottom pair into a bluff. I wonder if this is a better check call.
He checked.
Oh, he checked.
Yeah, he checked there.
Okay. Oh, okay. I missed the. I was talking to myself. I missed the action. Sorry. I would check. I would check and then call it some frequency. Okay, cool.
The rake looks like it was
One big blind.
$1.20.
Yeah, so it's 0.72 on 13.8. I mean,
Oh, is that the rake right there?
yeah. Yeah, MSI, I mean, you've probably been to Prime Dope before. I mean, I think the Ignition is pretty competitive, but I think one tough thing about Ignition is that it doesn't have any rake back. But it's a pretty competitive site. I think on Ignition, you can, if you have enough volume, get rake back, but you have to get the rake back from your affiliate. So if you sign up through an affiliate, they're gonna get rake. If you sign up through an affiliate, they're gonna get rake. And then you have to get, if you're gonna get rake back, it's gotta come from the affiliate who's getting paid by Ignition for being your initial sign up. Yeah, I mean, cash is sometimes a rake trap. Nope, strike that most of the time a rake trap.
All right, next hand, this should fold around to queen 9, which is in range on the button. And we get the limp from under the gun with queen 3 suited. Which for me, that would make me fold my button. I would no longer be playing that. And now we're just kind of getting out into the woods, but there it is again. We'll see how they play. Checks through. The open ender wants to take stab. The flush draw calls.
Yeah, I
Everybody-
think this is a bluff now.
You think the queen 3 is a bluff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
all right. Ace 10 under the gun is a fold. King 6 suited in the low jack is a
You might get
raise.
some action from Hero. He gets to RFI. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Seeming
see.
some
Well,
limping
if
madness.
let's see if Ace 10 kind of ruins it for us. Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to ISO King 6 here. I could be wrong,
So
especially
this
for the,
becomes an interesting spot, right? Because your King 6 doesn't have as much implied odds against his broken stack, but
Mhm.
maybe someone behind. I think this is a tough spot here.
Yeah, to the broken stack. I doubt that I ISO. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good fold. Disciplined fold, so.
So
Alright, we're
look
just
at
seeing, I mean, you're gonna make money at this table if you get to play it for a couple hours.
yeah, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I
It's
mean,
going a
we're going
little,
5-handed to a bunch of limps.
yeah, it's just going a little cray cray.
And I'll just go quickly through here because again, I don't know if it's really necessary to try to analyze how everybody's playing.
Yeah, this is gonna get just messy.
I mean, if we see something that's obvious, you know, I mean,
Let's see
he
if he double
limped
barrels.
Jack 5 off. And he's making a big bet there. It's interesting. All right, next hand, ace king raise, ace king suited 3-bet. And then it's going to get back around to ace king, which is, oh, look at the little min raise here.
So yeah, so what would well, we don't have to analyze what four bet sizing should be because we're on broker stacks, so we're never gonna play these stacks. And Chris, you're right. This is a very, very profitable table. I mean, this is NL50 and and we don't often see this many broken stacks when we do this kind of hand review. This is a very profitable table. So who knows what his sizing should be on this broken stack? I mean, probably like, I don't know, 15 maybe 12.
Yeah, and now we're kind of in the range of where you could just possibly jam. He's got just basically 50 big blinds left.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, the out of position player maybe, yeah, I could see a jam.
But yeah, this is kind of unusual. We get the re-click, and now they're just, I figured they were just going to get it in, but somebody decides they just want to call, and somebody's free rolling now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
they're
at
just
his advantage.
on the flop.
Now it's yeah, on flop, yeah. Look at his equity advantage.
Yeah, pretty
I
significant.
it's kind of calculating wrong because we don't know what the chop frequency is.
So that's kind of stuff we're seeing. Yeah,
So this is where rake MSI, this is where rake gets very expensive because you notice they paid 5 big blinds right there on a chop pot. This is an interesting spot.
Yeah, queen should raise, ace king 3-bet. So to the early position rate, well, ace jack should fold here.
That's a great bet.
Now
right.
we're yeah, this is great.
So I am going to, anybody else can chime in here, but I'm voting 11.
I would make it probably at least 15, maybe 18.
Oh, we had 3 in here. Oh, sorry. We have 3. I thought we had 2. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I'd probably make it 18 at this
Yeah.
point.
I could
I
see
think
that.
like 12, probably. Small.
Well, we can look at pre-flop on, oh, it's just, yeah, this is kind of Wild West because charts aren't gonna matter here as much because,
Oh, okay.
pre-flop solves aren't because of broken stacks, so. Yeah, okay, I'm down with that.
Now queens under the gun, this early position like this and getting squeezed is
I don't think a broken stack is gonna ever consider anything. Well, let's see.
I was trying to think if I were in his position and I had a full stack here, this would not be, I wouldn't be jamming. I wouldn't be 3-betting or 4-betting. And
I agree.
If there should be some folds.
Well, so you've got dead money in here at high frequency from these very capped ranges, these flatters. So I don't think I would fold. Let's ignore everybody's broken stack, which is gonna, change the strat, but I think this flat's good. I think I would flat at 100 big blinds and go from there.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? Do you think you have any folds here?
Who did you ask?
What about you or anybody in chat? Does anybody have any folds here with queens? Assuming
No.
full stacks, we're gonna ignore the broken stack.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't fold in game, but I was wondering if you should start considering it.
Yeah,
We jamming queens, no? Why folding?
well, generally, we're gonna see in charts that queens are often a call. So queens are a call to a 3-bet, and queens are often a call to a 4-bet. It's just, and it just goes, I guess it goes down to the shape
Oh.
of ranges that are playing like this pre-flop.
Who is 4-betting queens? 4-better.
I guess we
So-
mix in the spot.
Yeah, so take a look.
But-
This is without the callers, and it's got some folding mixed in here. It's got a little bit of folding. And that's to a single raise, to a single 3-bet.
Yeah,
Now we're talking about a 3x from under the gun instead of 2.5. We're talking 2 additional callers and then a squeeze, a 3-bet. And it gets back to us. I think this becomes a little bit more prevalent, the folding.
yeah. I see your point, Mike. I would argue that the dead money in between on these capped ranges would lean me towards a call. I might be results oriented here a little bit too much, but I think these ranges, are capped, you know, ignoring the rare trap. And because of that, I think this dead money goes in. I think you get folds in the middle, and I think that pushes queens more towards playing. Now, I don't think I would 4-bet queens here. I think I would call. So, anyway,
Yeah, so that's kind of a tough one.
yeah, it's a very interesting spot. Notwithstanding the fact that we're dealing with broken stones.
Yeah, when you said these ranges are capped, no question about it. This player here and this player here, they're capped. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so I think high frequency, these guys are gonna fold.
Yeah, it's
So
the
now you got
strength,
6 big blinds
it's the strength of
essentially.
this 3-bet that kind of is pretty worrisome.
Yeah, yeah, I see your point. I mean, yeah, aces and kings are definitely in this range, sure. I totally valid point.
And that's why I kind of wanted to see what we do to a single raise and like
So
it's just
why don't I move from, let me go to the pre-flop only. Here. Well, we can only do that with 6 max.
can you
Pre-flop
do
only.
it in poker coaching?
I don't trust those range. Well, I'm not gonna put it that way. I don't think those ranges apply here because those are not built with rate. Would be my argument.
Okay.
Um,
But you think pre-flop only with a low jack raise? I think that changes the
yeah, I don't think pre-flop only works as much here because it's only 6 max.
yeah, because the original raise comes from jack and not from here.
So MSI just put in a,
I bet it's the relatively like good 3, but it's, I don't know, it's like very weird. Even like button, if like I was staring at it, that button is calling queens versus undergun raise. So I made a button call because we couldn't get cut off call on small blind raise, and then I didn't realize, but big blind were squeezes, and
you
he
see,
actually
so in the range you just sent us, in the way, ETG
Yeah, so-
raises, button calls, small blind ISOs, and then we're
big
back on
blind actually
ETG.
supposed to call queens. If you click on big blind, he's supposed to call queens. But I don't know, it's like very thin range.
Well, UTG is what we're curious about, right? And so UTG does begin to fold queens here. So this is good to look at.
Yeah, but to begin with, he's opening so tight that button doesn't even want to free bet queens.
Yeah, so small blinds squeezing rate should be pretty linear. It has some bluffs, of course. It's the solver. It's gonna have balance, but yeah.
I am going to look at the pre-flop and see when adding a bunch of callers does to our
Okay.
3x open here. So let's raise here. Let's call from, what do you think, these two?
Sure.
If it allow us, it does allow us. And then the button with queens is always 3-betting.
Yes, yeah, and so we had
That's
this got
it.
ace king off. So oh well, look at that. So
Yeah, the size is smallish.
well, the first thing is that he's got shoves here in solver lane.
Yeah.
And so he raises to 12, which is a lot smaller than we thought. Yeah, so in this dynamic, queens are a call. My opinion is that this is because high freak, hijack and cutoff fold, giving us
Yeah,
6 big blinds of free money to play for.
I also think it's a function of this range versus a low jack versus a true under the gun 9-handed range.
So we free bet small as far as I understand to keep their range wide, and when we free bet big, we isolate ourselves versus their like upper range. So versus if you are like full ring and under the gun opens, you like size down. But if like cutoff opens, you on the bottom actually size up because you don't care. Like you don't
Yeah.
isolate versus nuts yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Especially, with aces and kings.
So this is a good, yeah, good discussion.
Yeah, agreed. So then, okay, so you got the flop you wanted in your SPR. It's like what, 0.75 or whatever, 0.8. So, I think you're a little happy with your queens. Let's see what he goes with him.
Yeah, your SPR is like 1.3.
I'm reading it wrong. Yeah, 1.3. I was reading wrong. So this is clearly going in. The only question now is if you feel like you need protection. I don't mind his play here, right? Maybe I'm being a little bit. Maybe I'm being a little bit too protection minded. What do you think? What do you guys in chat think? What do you think, Mike? Is this too protection focused?
Queens bet, ace king check. If queens check, then ace king check back. We're trying to show down ace king and queen should like well bet. And queens are vulnerable to like overcards.
Well, and also another interesting thing here is let's just look at pure pot odds versus. Okay, so let's get that shove in, if you don't mind, sir Mike. Okay, let's look at pot odds. They match up, don't they? So I can't quite read it. Is the equity of ace king here 26% or 28%? I can't quite read it.
26.
And okay, and they're being offered pot odds of 28. So this is an important spot because I'm in this spot a lot, frankly. And we're seeing how closely we are approaching getting the odds to call off in what a flop that seems seemingly awful for us. So yeah, this happens a lot. You get a broken stack. You squeeze them, 3-bet them. They check shove. You're looking at whatever pot odds around 28% here. And you're getting really close with your equity.
Yeah.
I mean, once you give out of position any kind of freak out bluffs, like with his, I don't know, queen jack of spades or whatever, then you begin to feel like you've got calls here.
Yeah, and it's tough to put a range on them. I mean, we don't have very many hands against anybody, right? If you were either of these players trying to figure out a range, they're going to be very strong ranges. And will this range ever contain any bluffs? Any bluff 3-bets? Population, like your population reads probably say no, hardly at all. Good players, yes, they're gonna have like the ace 5 or they're gonna 3-bet something like 10 jack suited or whatever. But I think to the general 50 NL unknown, I would say it doesn't include nearly as many of that kind of hands.
Like freak out bluff check shoves you're talking about?
No, like this 3-bet.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a pretty linear squeeze range. I agree.
And then this range from an under the gun 9-handed range open that calls a 3-bet. That range is going to be very, very tight.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, this is, I mean, and I think, when I think of his range, I think queens and jacks are the biggest portion. Let me ask you a question about his play, Mike. Do you think, so he is facing like a B40 or something? Do you think this check shove is a viable play, or do you think we are too far up in range to check shove for protection here?
I think that villain's range down here, I could be influenced by seeing it, but
Yeah.
I just think this is going to be aces, kings, and ace king.
Hmm.
Like just huge amount of time. Maybe queens, but
Yeah.
then we're chopping. But I think check shoving, you're just going to get called by the aces and kings, and you're going to get ace king to fold.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably, I see your point. I think this is probably an error. I don't think you're as motivated to, I mean, it feels good to check shove, right? Because you, if you're risk averse, you want to deny equity to ace king. And you don't really see yourself able to fold on future streets. So you're essentially check shoving here to avoid tough decisions if an ace or king comes. And that's not a good way to play poker. We know that from the solver. So this is probably, I agree. I think this is probably a call. Chris, to answer your question about, or to respond to your statement about solvers, stick around because probably later on we're going to deep dive a little bit into a hand post flop, and then I'll give you a little bit of indication of how, at least we use GTA Wizard.
Yeah. So to add to the confusion, there was no small blind. That's confusing. So the action came, it was under the gun, and I guess it would be 8-handed at this point because there is no small blind. So under the gun raised, cut off is the one who 3-bet. But yeah, that could get confusing because there was no small blind. So it kind of looked like, I thought he was button, to be honest, when I saw that there was 2 players behind him with the big blind sitting here. So yeah, interesting. All right, one more hand for me, and then we'll let somebody else jump in.
Okay.
King 10 in the low jack's going to be some frequency of raise, but not full frequency. I don't think King 10 off is full frequency raise. And if he does raise, that should get around to ace queen, who should defend by probably calling a lot to a low jack. Let's look. Disregarding that limp.
So
King 10 in
yeah,
the
yeah.
low
So
jack
this
is,
I think we're gonna mix. Yeah.
and it's actually a fairly high frequency fold, but it does have
Oh,
some raising.
yeah. Yeah. I think that his fold is fine against this early position limp. I'm not sure. I think it's too early to mess around King 10 off yet.
Oh, to ISO?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
it's
me
too
too.
early for this hand.
I mean, if this mixes fold as an open, then I think you definitely just fold it to when there's a
I
limper.
mean, I'm all for aggressively going after and ISOing a limper, but I think this is a little too aggressive. So this is where it becomes interesting, right? So you've got ace queen off in the big blind versus a UTG limp, which at some frequency is a trap. We know that, we just already saw one. We know that early position limps at some frequency are a trap. So I don't know if I like ISOing this. It's kind of an interesting spot.
Oh, to the limps, I would 100% ISO ace queen off to the
Okay.
limp. I wanted to see what ace queen does to a low jack raise, and it's just a pure call. I was wondering if there was any 3-bets. I didn't think there was. I just wanted to confirm that it's just pure defend with a call. But to this action, to this limp from a broken stack and a flat here, I would 100% make this. I would
Well,
make 6.
yeah, I can see that here because you don't really want to take this multi-way up position. So you really are now forced to ISO because you need to generate you want to generate a fold from one of these guys.
They make it 3, which is
This is a
just
very bad sizing.
very bad because you're going to get, I guarantee, I don't know what happens, but you're going to get called by both these players.
Yeah, this is a horrible.
Yeah. I mean, that was easy to predict.
I mean, you've just essentially floated a pot that you now can play out of position. I think I would prefer a 5 or 6, probably a 6. Big blind. I'd say.
Yep, six would have been my choice. So now
I
we
mean,
go
this
to
hand is really shitty to play when you miss like you do here. But what else? And now he's like putt and tight on the tilt.
yeah, entitlement tilt. All right, that's one orbit. That was one orbit. Let's pass it on to the next victim.
Okay,
To
I'm talking a lot. I can take one and then we'll pass it on to someone else if they want.
all right, take it away, Larry.
Okay, so we know Bojack is low frequency RFI. So we can do either hand. Ace queen is a pure open. 5-6. A lot of people, if Joey was here, you agree with this. 5-6, I think mixes the bet. I don't. Yeah, well, you know, it's a broken stack, so who knows? Assuming it's a full stack. Okay, so let's just forget that because we got a limp. This is I think this is ISO pure. We also have a poster here. So I
Nope.
think his size is I think I would go bigger because you got a poster. I would go to like 5.5 here. 5. We're not too far off. So 5-6, I think, is overvaluing his hand at this stack depth. His stack deck, his hand maybe mats a flat on a full stack, but he's overvaluing the implied odds of this hand with this short stack.
Totally true. I agree. With a broken stack like this, it's
Yeah,
just
this is
terrible.
not worth as much as he thinks it is. So okay, let's go back. So this I think is a call. I think this is a mistake, but maybe I'm wrong. There's a lot of discussion within the group in the past about the value of set mining. I think this is a set. You're not closing the action, but I think it's a set.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I just know how tight you should be. Now, that's in theory, but with somebody still left to act, yeah, I think it's tough. I
Yeah.
think you're okay. I think you're okay to set mine. I don't know how bad folding is. I don't think it's bad. I don't tough to
It's tough to say with this size. I agree. So right here, I think it becomes profitable. If you're set mining, it kind of sucks it's twos, but I think set mining becomes profitable multi-way here.
yeah.
So, by the way, someone flopped behind me twos last night and flopped quads. But you know, let's not talk about PTSD.
So this limp call is obviously terrible.
Yeah, this is horrible. So what is the size? Okay. Kind of like it. This is a super dry texture. Kind of like a check raise here. I might pull out a funky check raise. I think his bet size is fine. So whatevs, you don't care. I don't think he needs to bet this. I don't think he needs to put him in on turn. I think that I might be influenced by the cards. But on turn, our SPR is, before he bets, what's our SPR? It's like 0.3 or whatever.
Yeah, just under half.
I don't want to trap check there. Or a smaller bet. I mean, you've got a great hand, especially with this stacked up. So you just like, you don't want to fold him out. It doesn't really. That's not the most profitable line.
So yeah, this 2-2 fold here. I like Chris's point. He says with the limper still to act, but this short stack in the button. Like if he had a full stack, then maybe twos become a little better because you have another player in which you can stack.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good point.
But I don't think it's bad to set mine against this population.
Yeah. All right. Ace queen does get the RFI here. Hero is gonna get some action, so. King queen, I think can flat R3 bet here. And you're gonna squeeze to 15. Okay, now it's gonna be interesting because king queen is gonna have a choice. King queen, okay, so yeah, that's really horrible. So, what is hero's sizing? So, hero's sizing, I think is 20. I think you 4x this stupid, whatever this is.
This
You,
table
you
is
4x this
unreal.
undersized squeeze. I think I gotta think between 20 and 25.
Anybody else? What does anybody else want to do here? Let's see what I do. What I do. 17.
Okay, that's weird. Yeah, I think that's fine. I would have gone, I think I frankly would have gone a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Ace queen is a pure fold. Everything, and king queen is a very interesting spot. Well, can you go back one? So this is an interesting spot. So he's actually getting perfect pot odds against
Yeah.
his equity. And his equity is surprisingly big against, even though he's dominated because of the suited nature and the, even though part of his straight block, it's very interesting to see his equity versus pot odds.
Yeah.
And he's in
Exactly.
position, so that's interesting as well.
Being in position, he should be able to realize more than his 29%.
Yeah, and he's at full stacks too. So, okay, I'm down with his call. Yeah, I see your points, Chris. Okay, so I think Hero has got a very, very condensed strong bench. And I treat this in some ways like a 4-bet pot, which means you are going to bet with a large part of your range, even out of position. We flopped like horribly, but I still think I like a P20 here.
Yeah. And technically this is a 4-bet pot, right? Or is this technically a 5-bet pot?
I guess it is, yeah.
It would
Yeah.
raise 3-bet. Yeah. So this is 4-bet pot.
Yeah. So I would like a P20 here.
Hero checked.
So I'm fine with that, but let's talk about your choice here. Is it just because, so I would say, well, I'm gonna shut up for a second uncharacteristically, and let's talk about why you chose to check it. I'm not saying it's wrong. Maybe I just have something to learn.
Again, I'm a terrible person to ask because it's hard for me to articulate things that would make sense.
Okay,
And who knows at the time, let's see, what do we have? 10 hands on this player. Who
yeah, you
knows
just
what
know that he's, so I mean, I guess the argument for checking is that, well, you totally whiffed. Don't even have any backdoors, and you've got your best non-paired hand. And he's gonna have a lot of jacks and queens here and even tens. So I would bet here. I would bet here because we are representing super condensed 4-bet range, which includes a lot of aces and kings and queens. So I would choose to bet. And it's also, well, not to bet that. So yeah. You're
It went-
obviously ahead here.
it went check.
Okay, so, okay. I think, yeah, when you choose to take the check line, I think you just check it down.
After we check the flop, does the turn check make more sense?
To me, it does.
I'm with you on betting that flop. Like I'm
Yeah.
a little surprised that I didn't. And I probably would have gone probably like 11 or 10 or 11.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I think once you check, I think that you take that line and you try to realize your equity. Okay, so that's a great river for you. You've got a really good hand to hero call here with. I think you check and see what he comes with.
Yeah, the 10 was good. I was happy to see the board pair.
Yeah. So yeah, you made the right line. I mean, you won the pot without
well-
having to risk anything.
Again, being results oriented, sure, I won. But is that flop check? Is that the Is that a miss? Is that a EV miss?
We can run it as a four. No, I don't think it makes sense to run it because
Either.
your. Let me see, so three bet, yeah, your range, these ranges, if we were to run it heads up, are full of bluffs. It is LP versus LP. So
Being out of position in the small blind, I know I would be checking aces. Like I would have aces here. I would be checking that occasionally.
yeah,
There's gonna be frequency of checking, and maybe ace king isn't the hand to do that with, or maybe it is.
well, my only argument is that when I've looked at four bet pots, I mean, this texture is horrible. It's horrible for your hand and it's horrible for your range, right? You know that. But I think in four bet pots, you still get a lot of c betting because you are condensed and highly condensed around ace of kings.
Yep.
So. Okay. Um, Tell me when I'm done with my turn. Cut off hijack low jack. I think low jack does get some RFIs with this hand.
With 10 jack suited, yes.
Yeah, I would,
Pure.
is it pure? Okay.
I think
I
so.
would mix it. Um. I would mix it a lot. So. Okay, so this is, now we've got two limpers, is that right?
Yes.
I think this is really early. I kind of like an overlimp here. What are you guys thinking, chat? Or do you want to talk about it? I just think this is I think there might be an overlimp range here.
So my theory, overlimping in the low jack or the high jack gets dicey. I would prefer to just raise, use three better fold, and never overlimp like these positions. I would start considering overlimping cutoff and button, unless maybe you get three limpers, then you're sitting here with a hand that can overlimp in the hijack. But I typically will not overlimp high jack and low jack or any earlier position.
Yeah, I think you have a very good point here. MSI just put a screenshot in the chat. What are we looking at here? MSI. You're looking at range versus range on that board in a four.
So
I'm
it's
assuming this is
like your small blind hand, like where we didn't know what to do with face king. So I just put like Earl position versus Earl position because like ranges are tight where it's 6 max for that pot. Andrew
Okay.
gun versus Andrew gun. But like you see Andrew gun too, like this guy next to gun, he has like a lot of pairs. But anyway, we see that.
So we do see better high freak on this
Yeah, we are also out of position here, so we're just like basically same as
Okay,
there.
yes, okay, I see your point. So you're, from the last hand we looked at, which was where you had ace king. It looks like we are betting pure on
On
this
top.
texture. And we're betting, we're like mixing between, okay, thanks for running that.
Good. And this is the out of position player here, right? Under the gun hijack. So these are the c-bet frequencies and sizes, right?
Yeah,
50 and 25.
yes, and a four bet pot.
Yeah.
Out of
Okay.
position.
Yeah, good. Yep, that doesn't check at all. But yeah,
Okay,
we saw
yeah, I
10
see your point.
suited was a pure raise if it was first in, but now we've got two limpers.
So what are you gonna do? Uh, I, I think that you've got a very good point, and also I think MSI mentioned it, this is a little early. I think then I think this hand is too good to throw away, so I think you have to ISO it. Then,
Yeah, I would ISO this. I would treat it like it would be
it's a
one of my.
super awkward spot.
So they do ISO. How about king queen suited now?
This is. I think you mix. I think you like having. I think you mix. I think you. Who knows? I think that you mix between flatting and going to 4, 8, 12, going to like 14.
I would treat this like an open, it's a normal open, like, I
Yeah.
mean, like psychologically, and I
Yeah.
would three bet this hand. If I was
No.
on the button, if I was on the button, that's where I would start to maybe flat
Okay.
hands. And I don't know if this would be a flatter or not.
So that is it. So I know that Carrot Corner is going to more aggressively three bet on button because he really is valuing being um, guaranteed getting in position. And I think probably cutoff is like that a lot too. So anyway, I think his called for or squeeze size, whatever you want to call this, is too small. I think that I would go to like 14.
Yeah, that's clearly a bad play. 7 big blinds.
This really isn't accomplished.
I would make it 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And here we go with the 50 NL pool.
I have
I-
ace. I call.
Yeah. I think the 10 jack suited is an easy call. Absolutely. I think it might even be a call if, well, I don't know if he had made it 14 and the other two fold. Then
Yeah,
10
I
jack.
think the call is fine. I think the call is fine. I think that you need to be aware of the value of your pair multi-way. I think you need to play more for the flushes and the straights than you do for pair jacks.
Yeah, I take that back. I think 10 jack should be a fold if he had made it normal sizing and these players folded. I think 10 jack's a fold, 9 8's a fold. But you start calling pure with 4 5s, 5 6, 6 7s.
Yeah.
So we'll see
Okay,
how
now it gets interesting. So let's talk Nuffle here.
it doesn't really apply.
It doesn't, yeah, we can't really apply it here, can we? It's
No.
like this is la la land. Um, yeah, so I'm fine with this fold, especially. Well, let's go back. Let's look at equity versus pot odds just out of curiosity. I mean, there's an argument that equity versus pot odds doesn't matter on flop, blah blah blah, but he is actually pretty goddamn. Pardon my language. He is pretty close.
Yeah, almost dead nuts on.
Let's have a detour here. I don't know if you, well, I think you're probably already around with this. So there has been some debate in this group around the value of pot odds and your perceived equity on flop. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's still a very good tool.
What's been the arguments?
Sorry, go ahead.
What are the arguments? Because pot odds are kind of hard to argue against. What's the
Yeah,
argument?
I mean, so there's been arguments in this group that pot odds versus perceived equity, using pot odds and understanding your perceived equity is not as much value on flop because it doesn't take into condition into consideration future aggression.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. Because when you're out of position or when you're in position, you're going to realize your equity more often than you are when you are out of position.
Yeah, I think the pot odds and equity here are important.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important assessment tool. Okay, so yeah, so I guess the point I'm making is that with your backdoor, 2 backdoors and 2 overs, I mean, we clearly see that he's kind of screwed here. He's done. But I think you call. I think you call this. I think that it's an uncomfortable call, but I think this comes into your call range.
With king queen?
Yes.
No, in multi-way we cannot call. Even like his jack is, I don't know, like queen jack is folding.
Yeah, maybe multi-way, you have a good point. It's been checked too. I see your point multi-way.
Yeah, we need like stupid amount. I don't know how to calculate it, but we need like with two left, like two people behind us, we need like, I don't know, like 70% equity here. to
Yeah,
continue.
I mean, we can get to the square root of what our MDF is here if we wanted to go down that route.
No, in multi-way MDF is like always on the last guy to act, so ace three must like maintain MDF for everyone in the pot.
Okay, yeah,
So everyone can overfold, but this guy with ace three can like must or like should defend for us all who overfold.
I guess the argument theory is that your MDF is shared between everybody still in the
Yeah,
pot.
yeah.
And because the MDF is shared, you're hitting your MDF expectations are a lot smaller, a lot smaller
like,
part of your range. So I think you're right. It's probably a fold. I take
Even
that
in
back.
MTTs that we never see, like I actually have screenshot, but I closed it. Like in this spot, Jack 7 off in MTT with 0% rake is pure fold versus even like two guys in the pot, not four way, but like three way is Jack 7 of hearts is pure fold versus a bet, and bet is like under half pot or something,
Okay,
and it's like GTO strategy. We had like today this in a review.
okay. I mean, there might be some exploit calls here. Because this guy's now donking into the void, right? Our king queen, even though it's wrong size, is an uncapped range. You've got a capped range, right? He's got, even though his squeeze size, our four bet was a stupid size, he's uncapped, right? Jack 10 suited here with his top pair is choosing to donk into an uncapped range. Which, you know, we could talk about Nuffle, which I think ultimately is what the theory Nuffle is based on. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was going to bring up this point. So there's I think it was Matt Affleck, and it's kind of a heuristic, so to speak. When you're sandwiched in the middle, you just don't get any hero calls. I don't know if this would qualify as a hero call. However, and you're bringing this point up, Larry, what you do have is an uncapped range. You were the last aggressor before this donk. And even if somehow you got a glimpse at this guy's jack, like you somehow saw that he had a jack, king queen could be like a jam here, I think. This king queen suited.
yeah.
And number one, you've got fold equity because of your perceived range and your uncapped range. And number two, you can just based on the pot odds, you can see that you're getting the exact right odds to be able to kind of take this to the river. And with that extra fold equity, it makes it a profitable shove.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good play. I think another play, which I like here, is you call, and then we see what happens with his out of position range on river. You know, I think that he's playing really face up. And that allows you to, I think, not all the time, but a good majority of cases, or maybe even a good amount of cases, you're going to get some sizing tells about how he feels about his.
Your stack to pot ratio will be really, really close to like 1.
Well, that is a very good point too. That is good. Yeah, Chris, I mean, yeah, he is, maybe he's not. I feel like this is face up play. Because he's choosing to donk with his top pair. But, what the definition of face up play is, that's certainly up for debate. Okay. Cool.
Another good spot, another interesting spot with
Yeah, that
fish.
was interesting.
Fish.
Am I still on?
Yes. Yep.
More blabber from me. Folds around to the ace king, and he should raise it. And don't think, well, let broken stacks get weird, but 5-3 I don't think falls into the defender. Maybe it does. It's very cuspy. All right, doesn't matter. We got a broken stack. This is fine. Just ISO it. No reason to not.
Yeah, if you're gonna raise ace nine there, you just jam it. It's a fold in the charts if you're like full stack. I don't know what ace nine should do theoretically to a first in with 12 big blinds.
Let's go back to this right here. Okay,
But
so,
if you're gonna raise, I think it's just a jam, right?
yeah, I mean, who knows, yeah. But let's think about this situation and go, okay.
Uh,
So right here, let's ignore that he's fish with the broken pot, broken stack. What hands do you flat here that are really good because you don't, his stack doesn't matter, right? I mean, it's like 10 big blinds, whatever. But there is some portion of hands here that you do want to play against a full stack with. The first are aces and kings. So I think aces and kings now you flat. Because you really do like playing aces and kings in position against another full stack in the, because his stack doesn't matter. Yeah, let's see. What's it say about this?
Of course, it's only 20 big blinds is the limit.
Yeah, I would
That's
imagine it's not gonna have any
that's a
traps
different.
here. Yeah, it's 20 big blinds is too big. 20 big blinds is enough to ISO for, but I would imagine his 10 big blind stack. Maybe it is. Yeah, because hopefully it doesn't go forward. That's good. But it doesn't really matter because he's just got 10 big blinds. It's really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see 10 big blinds or
Um,
12.
So, but maybe ace king, if you had a full stack here, does actually blend in. I think he adds by more than this. What just happened? You folded?
No, it was that weird thing where it hides the cards.
Oh, sorry. Um, so yeah, I think that phrase is fine here for ace king. But I think aces and kings and maybe queens you just flat because you don't really care about it. You want to play 100 big blinds deep with aces, kings, and queens against deep blinds. So MSI, let's see what you got here. This is an MTT chip UV. So at what stack depth is this? At 12, right? We see our flats. We do see our traps in the region I'm talking about. Okay, cool. This
Oh,
is helpful.
Yeah.
We've
it's
got
actually,
some fortunate traps.
no, it's like a bet. Oh yeah, nothing changed. Then I removed limbs. Yeah, it's this frequency stays the same, just composition different.
Okay, cool. Okay. That is helpful. Yeah, I think that region ace kings and queens you want to flag. But this is fun. I think it is.
Yeah.
GG. Am I still on? So
Yep,
we've got
you take a full over it till the big blind gets back around.
to you, to hero.
Hero.
Okay. Yeah, ace eight, 9-6 folds, ace eight RFIs. Okay, so this is an awkward spot for ace eight. I think I might be influenced by the cards, but I'm trying to think what do I do without the cards here. I think that I like an ISO here, an exploitative ISO.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I would too. I think we talked about it a little earlier. I would make it 4.5, but
I would make it 4.5 and 5. Yeah.
I would probably use my normal button raising range, minus hands that I would just overcall with. But ace eight falls into that normal raising range.
Yeah. Okay, so now you're in a super awkward spot.
Yeah, this is the question I had too, king queen here.
Yeah, so
I know what I would do to a single raise pot on the button. I know what I would do with king queen. I would just flat it.
but what about in this situation?
This changes it, that extra dead money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we should, if we should squeeze more now, or if we should three bet now.
So I think I definitely would squeeze the suited variety. I think I prefer calling this offsuit variety. I think we squeeze the suited one.
Yeah.
The suited combos. But this is why you don't flat it, because now you've got top pair and you're dominating. Or you got second pair and you have no equity. Okay. We get a donk. So on a scale of 1 to 10 in your time playing ignition, by the way, Mike, 10 being the most fishy and 1 being all eggs, what number is this? What's your
This is
ranking?
This is almost probably the best I can ever remember. So this would have to be a 10.
Yeah, this is like full profit center.
Yeah, this is highly unusual. We've got this question asked before in this group because of these tables, and we've had some, fairly typical 1 or 2 limps and whatever. And people ask, "Wow, is it always this fishy?" And we're kind of like, this is kind of normal. This right here, this table is absolutely bonkers fishy.
So Chris is saying, doesn't understand the question. Okay, I'll put another one. So we've probably been looking at ignition cards up, hand histories for maybe a year. Who knows? And, so we've looked at a lot of tables. So my question is really, obviously each table has a different composition of players. Some have been very full with regs, some have been full with fish. And the question from Mike is, where on a scale does this rate? And the answer is, this is as fishy and profitable as a table has got. This is a very fishy table for ignition.
Yeah, he asked me to rate the fishiness of this particular table we're looking at right now, and it is by far probably the fishiest I can ever remember.
Yeah, this is really, really ridiculous.
So you get the one big blind donk, and you're sitting here with top pair weak kicker.
Well, I think I start with a call in position. I mean, I could represent a stronger range, right? I'm the one I'm the aggressor,
If he
but I've
checks,
got really good showdown. So, I mean,
If
maybe
he
there's
check-
an argument for oh, sorry, Mike, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
but I didn't know you were still going. I said if he had checked, what would be your action?
So multi-way, I'm probably like a B33. I mean, I'm gonna push my range advantage here. Even though I've got marginal, well, this is real, pretty bit of a marginal showdown. I got showdown here. And then the one thing I was gonna say in this particular situation, this is not the case here, but my read is that oftentimes this is a draw trying to set its price. And so I'm not particularly interested in giving him the price that he wants to pay. And I also like representing my uncapped range. So I would raise this to like a B50. Maybe not multi-way here. It's kind of, yeah, I think I still raise this. What do you
Yeah,
guys think in chat? What do you
I'm with you.
think?
I would raise this one big blind bet. If he had checked, I would probably have made it about 3.5. You were going to say just call in position, right?
Yeah, but then I changed my mind.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure that we shouldn't be calling here. I don't know. Calling probably isn't bad, but I definitely like value.
Yeah, you've got the uncapped range and you are tapping yourself if you call less traps. I prefer a raise. Kind of
Yeah.
enoughly raise in a way. Okay, and bad play is always rewarded. Not always, thank God, but quite often. You're not getting away from the sizing. You hate this turn. I would call. So the king queen is making a horrible play here. King queen is now battling for a pot multi-way with second pair. On a run out that is really not good for second pair. I think king, queen is a clear fold. Okay, so you're not, obviously you're not getting away from 14% pot odds. So you call.
Two
But you're
pair.
gonna win, actually.
You-
You improved. So do you, do you raise here? Is the only question I have against this cap sizing. With a flush on board and a straight on board.
Does your hand have enough value? Will you get called by worse?
Yeah, and I would feel very uncomfortable raising multi-way with the straight flush on a multi-way. I think I'd probably just call because there's a straight, there's a flush, it's three ways, and part of that range got done.
What's the lowest hand you'd raise?
Good question. Ace, queen with the queen of spades.
So here I think we should always raise. We should raise pretty wide. No one has a flush basically here because I mean that's how side plays. No one even heard what is multi-way. Like they're just playing their hands and everyone is slow playing. Like even I'm surprised that he's betting like so small on the turn and on wherever with the pair. But basically we have no straights when we bet so small and no flushes I think so. So we are always best and
Yeah, I think your argument is good. I think that I might be a little spooked by the multi-way nature. I mean,
yeah, but
we
but we
have,
also,
go ahead, sorry.
yeah, but we have to think like what we are doing and like it's impossible. We limping nine deuce and like etc. Like it's impossible that we know any multi-way. And yeah, even ace ten is like good enough here to go like for a micro race, I would say.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, so,
we can find calls with king queen, maybe ace five, whatever.
okay. I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I can certainly see raising it. Maybe I'm a little too passive. Okay, where's hero? So fours are too early. We don't get to RFI fours. Here.
And
Especially
we got a
with that-
poster.
Oh, is that a poster or a limper?
That's a poster.
Okay, I don't think, oh, well, okay, YOLO over limp, fours. King, queen, that's, okay, cool, whatever, ISO, horrible call. King, queen has no business in this hand, it folds. It is a often dominated hand, it gets out. And his ISO size was too small. Horrible call. You should fold. I mean, there's no reason for ace three to be in this hand. Got horrible versus implied odds, and it's a broken stack, whatever. So, okay. Now we're like playing.
I just wanted to go here. I think I would fold the fourth if I were the fourth.
Would you ever overlap?
I would not overlimp. Not
Okay.
until I get later, like maybe cut off button.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that I should be doing. Maybe this is something I should be doing. Maybe I should overlimp in earlier positions, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that I mean, we talked about it earlier in the session, and I think you've got a really good point. That, at a lot of tables, you're gonna just be raised off your equity. And I think that, you obviously have a full spectrum of opinions about set mining in this group. I really lean more towards the set mining side. So I'm not going to advocate strongly that this is a good overlay. Because I think that probably more towards set mining than I should. But the cost behind all of it. So. Who knows what you do? Let's just go
Yeah.
through the hand. This is
Yeah,
chaos.
I agree. Yeah, we don't have to spend too much time.
This is pure chaos.
Yeah. But it's good to see what they're doing, right? Let's go back.
I agree.
So you know, it just went check the flop, and then we get the one big blind, ridiculousness. And maybe that's a tournament thing. I see the one big blind bets in tournaments a lot. MSI, I think you're a tournament guy. I see this a lot in tournaments. I don't play tournaments. I don't implement these one big blind bets in cash games. So maybe that's a thing. Yeah, it's a donk fest. They don't know anything. Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at with that. All right, next hand.
All right, next hand. Sorry, I got it. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so folds around to ace queen suited. Okay, he's now just. So this is where you wonder if you. So I'm gonna adjust my three bet size in position here. Because I'm okay. I think I'd go smaller here exploitatively. So I talked before about getting a lesson from Alexandra, and she was like, "Well, our aces and kings, we three bet bigger. People aren't elastic with their calls. I think this is an exception because he's broke a stack. So I would go to 12 or 11 here.
Yeah, I'm with you because of the broken stack. If this was a normal size stack, I definitely don't give the premium discounts.
Yeah, I liked Alexandra's. I think Alexandra had a very good argument. Essentially, people are inelastic. And when you juice the pot pre-flop, that's it. That's exponentially going to grow the pot as you add bets in. So I think it makes total sense.
Chris, now you would go bigger than 15? Or you're saying don't go any smaller than 15?
Yeah, Chris, I think you make a good argument. I mean, so Peter Parker has a new. I haven't watched it. He's got this big range versus big range. I mean, this guy's declared he's got a big range that he loves. So yeah, you can go bigger. That is also an argument.
Mhm.
I think
And
he
I
got a
was
good
okay
point.
with the smaller size, like you were saying, Larry. I think if you went like say 12 or whatever, you're getting a stacked pot ratio that's going to be good enough to be able to get it in two streets. If you go bigger, you're at a SPR of 1 on the flop.
Yeah,
And I think going really big may be unnecessary.
yeah. I think well, my smaller size would be based on his broken stuff.
Yeah, no, it's because of his broken stack. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so I would go very small here. I'd go like 10%. So you go 10%, that's 6. 12 gets us to 42, and then I just shoved him. 2 street game.
6 would be 20%.
Yeah, I think I'll go smaller.
Yeah. It's just a two street game here.
Yeah, so yeah, just what else? And then so ace queen opens. King 9 doesn't have 3 bets here, but it does get to the spot.
So notice the size.
This is our same guy, right?
Yeah, that's the same guy that just had ace queen suited the prior hand.
Okay, so I didn't notice because I'm trying to do things at once. So let's go. Did he fold? I think this fold is fine against that size. We've seen in our study here that we are very sensitive to RFI sizing with our big blind defense.
Yeah, and to address, Chris was saying on the ace hand, betting bigger pre-flop, you'd have got all the chips on the flop. And that's what I was saying, that your stack to pot ratio, if it was any bigger than 15, you're at a 1-to-1 stack to pot ratio on the flop. And then that's basically just a 1 street at that point. Whereas if you do make it smaller, you're allowing 2 streets because of this short stack. But yeah, you're right. Make it bigger and it's all in on the flop as opposed to waiting.
Okay, RFI here. And by the way, if anybody, this is my last hand, so if anybody wants to take over after this, that's cool. Okay, so he should raise the take. Yeah. King Jack is not a defend.
We didn't get any funny business this one.
I know. I think it's the
Uh,
first hand that wasn't just crazy.
Right. So we got Chris, MSI, and Skate. Do you either one of you guys want to take the next orbit?
Sure.
All right, MSI, you go. Or was that Skate? Who said sure?
No, that was me. Either or is fine.
Hey, Skate.
All right, Skate, you go this orbit, and then MSI go next. Good husband. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you got
Skate.
your priorities right, Chris.
All right, here we go. Mic is working now. All right.
Yeah, we can hear you okay.
All right, cool. Let's see here. I think fives could open. Yeah, let's stop here at fives. Okay, we're playing. So, fives my opener fold. Let's see, and then it's gonna should fold around to king nine suited, which could mix in some three bet. Raise bluffs.
Okay, yeah, I think fives are going to have a low frequency raise, but they certainly can. Of course, we got a limp from under the gun, so that kind of takes that whole thing out of the way. But yeah, you're right. Fives get a small frequency of raising that early. It's very low frequency.
Okay.
But here we go. Now we got the 50 NL fishy table in action here.
We'll practice shenanigans.
Should King Nine ever consider just taking all this dead money with King Nine?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think, well, does this, I mean, the first question is, in a normal situation, does this fall into our three bet bluffing range? And I think the answer is yes. So that means it does get to fall into our ISO bluffing.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm gonna step away for a bit, guys. I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
Probably I'll shy away from it when there's these smaller stacks like this. I shy away from kind of taking those bigger pre-flop bluffs when there's small stacks. So so now that we get to this point, Skate, there's no need to try to like analyze how things should be played. So we just kind of just go through it relatively quickly. If we see somebody make a horrible mistake, we'll say, well, look at that. Like
Okay.
this might be, I don't know, this is interesting. Could be an exploitable kind of thing, but
Okay, yeah, like pointing out the mistakes more than speaking like strategy.
yeah, or pointing out how like these fishy players play, right? So you see the initial donk and then a big bet, or I should say a bigger bet. This is kind of typical of what we see from fishy players.
Okay.
But
I don't mind the half pot bet with with the set on the flop. Yeah, I didn't see the whole hand, but yeah, the half pot bet on the flop wasn't too bad.
no, he bet one big blind on the flop.
Oh, the guy who flopped the set. Oh, you mean the okay. All right. It's probably gonna fold around to ace 10 suited, which may or may not open. So then you might get a few callers. Ace 5's gonna call. Nine's broken stack 9-6 suited. My call. Talking there. Jack 9 might call there. It's gonna probably fold. After the ace 10 is probably gonna fold around to maybe 5 deuce suited, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. So don't worry about what you think might happen based on fishiness. Worry about what maybe when you get to the hands that you should play. So first, what do you think about this hand right here? King 6 suited in the under the gun +2. You kind of went right over it. You went straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking over because, like from early position, I kind of like my, I kind of tend to avoid those king five, king sixes and
Okay.
go more of a like king seven plus route if I'm gonna bluff
And
from like from mid early.
I think you're perfectly fine with that, but I do want to show you where these suited kings come in. I want to show you,
Okay.
where were we at? Under the gun +2. So notice, even all the way as early as under the, let's go back to the very first position under the gun. Notice all these suited kings have some frequency of opens here. And then it goes all the way up into, once you get to low jack, it's almost going to be pure. But here's under the gun +2, and you see the frequencies get a little bit bigger. And then low jack, it's pure.
Mm.
So I just wanted to show
Well,
you, you're okay not raising.
yeah. I mean, I know what you mean. Like, cause like I guess the point is that I try not to let my mind get too over complicated with the little frequencies instead of like doing 10 combos. I might shrink them down to 6 or 7.
Yeah, perfect. Good job. And then another thing I noticed that you said, that ace-10 suited may or may not open, and this is a pure open from the low jack. You should open ace-10 pure here. You should not consider folding it.
Okay, yeah. I just like I was kind of thinking out loud to myself. I wasn't really sure. It's kind of like, to be honest, I haven't really been studying as much, like solo too, like the ranges and stuff. Once you stop studying for a while, you kind of lose that
I hear you for sure.
intuition.
And
Yeah.
and that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up, because that's why we do these sessions, right? So we can learn, and if we see something that might need to get pointed out, or we see something that could be an improvement, that's the case. So like low jack, notice every single suited ace you should be opening, and these are like considerable high EV hands. They're these are all funny how ace-10 is actually the lowest of all of them.
The lowest.
But notice how, look at the EV of these suited aces in the low jack. That's a pretty significant EV, especially if you're going to be a better player than some of these fishier players.
Probably because my mind is kind of maybe stuck in the live ranges, which are probably a little bit more compact, but yeah.
Oh, no, you're right, MSI. No, you're right. It is actually higher. It's correct. I said that it was lower because I saw that it was 1 digit and not 2, but you're absolutely right. It's actually 0.10 big things.
Oh, it's more because one is closer to the
Yeah,
to
it's
to
not
zero than yeah.
1/10, not 1/100th is what
Yep.
I thought. So anyway, yeah, so just keep that in mind, Skate. Your suited aces from almost every position, it can be an open.
Okay, starting from the pretty much the low jack.
Oh, from the low jack, absolutely.
Online. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so yeah, so if you raise ace-10, it should fold around to king-3. King-3 might be able to defend versus a low jack open. But now of course, we get this play. This shouldn't be a thing. King-3 might be okay at this point. Probably not closing the action, but so now we get all this action. Now we can just kind of see what happens post flop.
We're gonna get fireworks.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Top pair weak kicker. Oh, he was basically all in. So
Well, Jack nine's got a little combo gutter there, draw two. King three takes down.
Crazy.
Oh, also ace 10 as well. Good shot. All right. All right. See.
Skate, don't be afraid to be like you said. I just wanted to point those things out to you earlier.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to like, make a decision. And it'll be fine if it's something that we want to point something out to you. That's
I'm
how we
a, like a mistake. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. So let's see. This table is like a limp party. So we see. Let's go with King 6 limp maybe. Ace.
Don't worry about what you think players might do. Just make a call on what a player should do.
Okay. Fold around to A6 off, which I think on the button. I think all the maybe except for no. I think all the suited and the offsuit aces can open. I'm not sure about ace 2 soft. Anyways, yeah, a6 on the button open, and then king jack offsuit definitely can mix in some raised bluffs there, or just folds, or mixed folds, raise fold. 10, and then when it gets around to 10-7 on the big blind fold.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think you missed the suited king again. Now, granted, he doesn't have a full stack, so that's going to affect his range. But remember those kings, and definitely from the hijack, or is he hijack? Yeah, he's hijack. This is going to be a pure open for somebody that at your level. You can definitely raise this suited king here in the hijack.
No, yeah, definitely. I didn't forget, but yeah, like you mentioned, like my man, since he was so short stack, he definitely doesn't want to get, doesn't want to raise fold.
Okay, yeah, good. I'm glad you
Yeah.
noticed it. Your ace-6,
Yep.
your ace-6 analysis was pretty good. I think according to the charts, and a lot of charts are going to have different information. GTO Wizard says raise them all except for ace deuce, I think.
Ace 2's off, right? Yes, yes.
So that was pretty good.
Ace 3 mixing, perfect.
And then your king jack, I think, was spot on. You get a raise from the button. I think your king jack is going to 3-bet at a pretty high frequency or fold.
From the small blind, huh?
Yeah, from the small blind. It's a pure, almost pure 3-bet.
Almost pure, huh?
So that was,
it was actually offsuit, but yeah.
Oh, sorry, you're right. It was offsuit, but that's pure.
Pure, still, okay.
So good job. That was good.
Thank you.
Now that we got a limp from under the gun, what do you think a6 should do?
Well, first I would look at the stats and see if he's any kind of a tricky limper. And if not, then I could consider I swing with the a6 off. Would probably be a poor candidate. I would like more of the real aces, so a6 off, a7 off are probably gonna be one of the worst, so I would go with no.
I love it. For me, that's exactly, I think, was my thinking as well. Anybody else like a6? Yeah. Anybody like to ISO a6 here on the button? I know I don't. I'm with you, Skate. I think the a6 and a7 are hands that I kind of typically put into a bucket of just, forget about them if I don't have to deal with it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget it.
But I like your thought there. And now we get kind of to this business. Actually, King Jack is interesting. Like, if it folds around with the limper under the gun, King Jack in the small blind is kind of a tough one for me. I feel like I should ISO this, but it almost feels like it's at the extreme bottom of what I'm going to ISO in the small blind.
Right. Yeah. Like I like to lean more towards the suited parity, but even then, the limp is coming from early, so maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why it's kind of a tough one for me, and I'm not sure if anybody else has any thoughts on King Jack offsuit to an under the gun limp.
So just be a fold here, I think.
Or what about completing for half a big blind?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I would be wary of the EP limper. I think just completing it is okay. Real awkward spot.
Well, I guess as played, we all of us, I should say the rule of, the cash is, raise or fold right from the small blind, but you know, as played, all it's limping. I guess calling is fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird one.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the razor fold policy really certainly applies to if you're facing an open already, whereas this is a limp, right? So it's so strange, so weird, such a weird spot that we don't really have any charts. We don't have any kind of, I don't have any kind of data set to be able to tell what to do.
Maybe it depends on how spicy you're feeling on the day.
Right? That's what I was thinking just now. I think.
It could go either way.
think
So
I-
this is an interesting spot. I got a question for you guys. So a lot of people say all the rules are off and you get to start dunking your value hands here.
Yeah,
A
so
limp
like
pot.
here,
But I don't think that's the case because I think the same rules are in place. You're out of position and you're not really, this hand's a good hand, but you're playing out of position pretty deep.
True.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good dunk. I think I would check.
I kind of don't mind it actually. I mean,
Okay.
other than the fact that we can be against two pairs, but you know, especially with the 10 there, you know, we block some of the two pairs. With the flush draw on board, I don't mind the. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I just what I'm trying to say is that I don't mind the donk bet with you know, a king jack or higher. You know.
yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what is, I don't typically dunk here either.
Yeah.
If I do, I think it's with my extreme top end and not extreme top end value and really good equity type draws. And I don't think this falls into either of them. It's top end, but not extreme top end. So they do donk and they get called. I mean, it's kind of a funny thing. They've all got a piece of this.
Yeah. I don't mind it. I don't know if it's good or bad, but king jack donking there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. All right. All right, queens. Yeah, queens. Let's raise queens. Ace jack. Limp party. Are we gonna have another limp party going on? Ace jack. I think. If I were the ace jack, fold. I guess.
Good. Yep. Should be pure fold.
Yep. But
I don't even think that ace jack off gets to 3-bet here, like 3-bet.
no. And then like, what are we doing with the suited east? Still okay. Now it's gonna raise.
Ace jack suited, yes. Ace jack suited is gonna get in there, but ace jack off, I don't think 3-bets to a normal. Oops, sorry. Let's do this. He was low jack.
Yeah.
Ace jack off. Yeah, pure fold. Pure fold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that is assuming full stacks. Yeah. So not counting what this guy's doing here with his broken stack. I was talking about, yeah, full stacks. But because it is a broken stack, does that maybe tell us we can play ace jack?
No, like my thinking is that, you know, when raises are coming more often, especially in early position from a broken stack, the opens are going to be more stronger. They're going to be weighted more towards premium hands.
Okay.
You know, instead of for example, 6-7 suited, 9-10 suited, those kinds of hands.
So let's say this guy correctly folds ace jack. What do we do with the rest of the hands?
The rest of the hands, I guess ace-5 in the big blind can, I don't know. Actually, don't know, but I think ace five. Yeah, ace five could definitely just call.
Ace five should be a fold.
Right. Yes.
And
To this because of the sizing, right?
oh, definitely, even to a smaller, I think you're gonna find all of the suited aces to a low jack raise, all the way down to like ace 10. Let's take a look, assuming we get all these big ones.
Okay.
Yeah, so notice all the suited aces are folding to a 2.5x raise. So 3x is definitely gonna make it fold even more. And notice even ace 10 has some folds here.
Yes, selects the suited, of course. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, I'm on board.
But we get this goofiness, and here we go with the classic four-way pot with a min 3 bet. And so we get the 10 jack donking out into the 3
Yeah,
better, 4 better. This is great. This is so good.
I don't like it, but this is why we study poker.
Yeah, this is what we are here to see.
Yeah, so I think the queen made, well, I could be influenced by the hand, but I think he's undervaluing his second pair when he has got a half stack left.
Yeah, no, yes.
Yeah, I think his fold. I think his fold is four, which he's going to see and shoot himself.
I called him down with ace high. So
So
that's
this is
fun.
Mergy AF, right? He's now turning his marginal showdown into a bluff.
Yeah, and you notice the sizing. Look at the sizing on all the streets.
Small. Small. This is like the Brazilian. But we know this isn't the Brazilian play because no good player is going to play with this stack size.
But back to the ace jack, to a short stack. This is kind of wanted to explore this a little bit. Let's just forget the 10 jack limp. If we get this open from this broken stack, I guess I would have to look at like his tendency. Like I would probably look at stats a little bit more, player tendency. Because what I was wondering is if ace jack becomes a better hand now that we're short stack, as opposed to having a full stack. A full stack, I think it's pretty easy fold because you've just got really terrible implied odds. Whereas now your top pair value tends to go up when you do hit a pair. But it could be way
Yeah,
off.
I think it does go up in Chris, I'll answer your question in just a second. Um so yeah, I think it does go up in value. I mean, I think any high cards goes up in value and here. And I think that's mainly driven by the fact that your reverse implied odds go down. So he's obviously not ahead here, but I don't think you get to flat this either. So maybe you do get to three bet bluff this. Maybe it's too early. It's very, very.
Yeah,
I think we have
I'm on the
so many
side.
different pre-flop multivariate issues to look at here.
I'm on the side of like I don't think it's good enough, but I wanted to like see if there was any merit to the short stack making it better. Like Chris says, it's probably worse, and I can't argue that. But maybe we can kind of look at this, right? This might
Yeah.
be in.
So 20 big blinds, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, well, it was a little more than 20, 25 even. So let's look at them both just to see.
Okay.
Let's start with 30. A 3x raise, ace jack. Okay, well, it does.
Cuspy.
Yeah, and it does go from pure fold at full stacks to a tiny bit of, but look at it, it's like a min raise,
Yeah,
which makes sense. I mean, stack,
it's a click. Yeah, it's very, yeah. I mean,
let's,
these are just, I mean, I don't think we should spend time memorizing these, but I think this is fascinating to see because it's such a distinctly different strat than what we see at 100 big blinds. And even, I don't think we have to memorize it, but I think it's very important to see some heuristics here, right? Like this heuristic that our 3-bet size is really small.
and now this is against a perfectly balanced player. And to Skate's point, and probably Chris's point, these aren't perfectly balanced players. These are players with ranges that are going to be higher in value than, which means that ace jack should probably go away. And here, notice it at 20, it still goes
Yep.
away. It goes away completely.
Yeah.
So that kind of interesting.
Chris, to answer your question real quick. So we do this group every week. You're more than welcome to join us. We do it at 2:15 New York time for now on Mondays. And so you are 6, whatever that is. You're 6 hours ahead. And then we do it at 12:15, so midday on Tuesdays. So tomorrow we're gonna do the same thing at 6:15 p.m. your time.
But not the same
And
thing though, Larry, right?
sorry?
But we're not going to do the same thing, right? Tuesdays are usually slightly different.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna start at 11:15 a.m. my time, right? But he's in the UK. So I think that puts it, maybe it's 6 hours. No, it's 6 hours. It's 5:15 your time. Whatever. Yeah, I think you're 6 hours after me. Yeah, so 5:15 your time.
But you said we do the same thing, and we don't typically do
Oh,
what
sorry.
we're doing. We don't typically do what we're doing today on Tuesdays.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, I see your point. Yeah, tomorrow we my apologies, getting a little caught up and trying to figure out the time zones. Tomorrow we do some sessions in the trainer together, which is interesting because we get to deep dive. And then we do some marked hands. So, anybody's welcome to bring some interesting hands they played in the past. And we discuss those, and oftentimes we'll deep dive into those in the solver. Sorry for the interruption, guys.
Go ahead, Skate.
Alrighty then. Yeah, we were talking about the King 6 there. The cutoff. Let's open that. Let's fold the. Okay, well let's limp. Let's limp that.
Well, let's assume he appropriately raised. What should the other hands do?
Okay. Raise, fold on the button. Jack deuce. I don't see anything going on there with the Jack deuce. 8-9 is suited, so we could definitely call.
Okay, good. Yep, King 6 definite raise. We talked about that. King 6, Jack 2 should fold, and then 8-9 to a raise is going to defend pure, and it's going to have some 3-bets at a small frequency.
Right. And I probably don't find the 8-9s in there. Well, I guess let's see if the 8-9 is in there. You mentioned it, so yeah.
Yeah. Let's do a quick confirmation. Let's get back to our normal 100 big blinds, 50 post flop, make it 9 max.
I mean, I don't mind it because the late opens, the cutoff open, right? So maybe 8-9, 9-10, or just 9-10.
Yeah, I think they're all going to have a little bit of 3-bet bluffing in.
Okay.
Just little slivers in there.
Slivers.
So, yep, good call. Okay.
Okay.
So now we get the limp and all of the limping behind it. And here we go.
Yep, we should have the best hand most of the time. The big blind can be defending some suited kings in there. So other than that, we're good.
Next hand.
Okay, let's open the king 10 suited Broadway. From there, is it gonna have some mixing? Yes. Oh, no. No, we mentioned that the low jack is gonna open all the way down from, it's gonna mix the king 5, king 6, king 7 is probably gonna open all the way up here, the king 10. So after the king 10 opens, let's 3-bet the ace jack, or raise the ace jack in the small blind, and jack 8 should definitely get out of there.
Okay, good. I like that. What do you think about ace jack in the small blind, ace jack suited? Anybody have any objections to 3-betting pure or remixing?
Yeah, I think it's a 3-bet. It's a 3-bet Fury in the small blind.
Yep, I think so. Let's look. Ace jack suited.
Probably mixing, huh?
I don't have
Mixing.
too much calling range in my small blind play. I know I do to early position raises, but I'm surprised to see this call that much.
Are we using pre-flop only ranges?
No, this is post flop included.
Okay. Yeah, I was surprised to see this much too.
King 10 suited pure raise from the low jack.
Okay. Yep. All the way down to about king 9, more or less. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Chris was asking about small blind. King
Okay.
10 suited in the small blind.
Yeah, it's on the cusp, so it wants to do everything.
Yeah, King 10 suited. I think
Yep.
in my limited knowledge, I would probably make it pure 3-bet. Like I don't have much calling in the small blind, and maybe I should incorporate it. I do, and I said this earlier, I do call to early positions, things like from under the gun +2, and under the gun. Like I do have some calling of some pretty good, like this kind of a range, even like down to queens when they get early position. But yeah, king 10 suited in the small blind, very similar to ace jack suited.
Yeah, I guess table dynamic would judge whether or not I should fold or 3-bet, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing to make sure you're aware of.
Yep.
So the jack 8 off comes along, which is terrible.
Terrible.
I thought we were going to be able to see a hand that actually is played out normal, but here we go.
All right, I don't mind the check from the ace jack, obviously multi-way. All the small blind could do is just call. And I really don't know why the king 10 is betting, but okay.
Yeah. I think the king 10 is betting because it's a good flop for his range, and that's the only reason. And this could be a mistake because he's in the middle of his. This would be what would be, if this is a bad bet, it's a polarization error.
I think it's a good bet. I think that this is a good bet. I think it's a good range. I think we've got a marginal hand with additional draws to equity, the nuts. I like your bet here.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, correct. I guess I'm just influenced because of the hand. He can bet. I guess you don't always have to check back a middle pair. The bet
Yeah.
is fine.
One way to think about this is that, if you look at a solver's not the end all be all of poker strat, but if you look at a solver, when it has a poor texture on flop that it bets, it's going to bet usually from its entire range. So all the hands are gonna bet, and all the hands are gonna check. With exceptions, of course, but, and I think this hand, I mean, this is a different world, because we're multi-way. Flats in the small line, but I think this hand likes a bet on this texture.
Yeah, polarization error might be not the best term to use on a bet like this. But maybe what's better? What's a better play here, to check or to bet? And which has more EV? So you're right. Maybe polarization error is not the right.
Maybe the term would be that this hand is not the highest TV play. Or the other way to say it is this is a low frequency bet.
Okay, I like that.
This
But
hand, this hand in particular would be a lower emerging mistake, might be better. However, my range probably likes c betting, right?
yeah, I think you have a good bet here. I think that maybe we check this marginal hand back if we don't have additional draws, but I think our two draws allow us to do it. I guess there's one draw. I think, yeah, I think having the backdoor flush allows us to do it.
Yep.
So you get a call. Yeah, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was agreeing with what you were saying about the backdoor.
Uh-huh.
Now that the villain called, I think that we could easily and happily check.
I agree. I think we should be checking. Good. I'm glad I did. I don't know why I would, but who knows? So we did check.
Your odds are ridiculously good.
And he bets a third. Maybe no, that looks more like, is that half pot? That's a little less than half.
No less. I mean, they called, all the way down to. They called. We checked the turn. They're betting on the river. The rivers are generally under bluffed. We still lose to a queen, which leads me to fold.
Yeah.
We're not beating an ace. We're not beating, obviously, not beating a queen. Fold.
Yeah, Chris is a good point. I mean, so questions to ask. Are we ever beating value, or is this a bluff catcher? And it's a pure bluff catcher. And then is this line over bluffed or under bluffed? I would argue it's probably over bluffed because it went check, bet, check, bet. And but then, we have a question of pot odds. Pot odds are very attractive. You just put in a blocker bet. So we have to win more than essentially 1 out of 5 times here. And so there's a very compelling pot odds.
Just like the sizing, right? He's telling you, like, please call me. Huh? I mean,
Yeah. Right. So
Yeah, I would take the stance that it's more over bluffed, I think.
yeah,
However,
I agree. I think the bet check bet line is
however, do we think that a block bet is an over bluffed size?
yeah. And also, do we ever beat value? And the answer is no. I mean, we're only beating air, I think. So we have a pure bluff catcher.
And then yeah, Chris and Skate kind of feel like it's probably under bluffed. And yeah, I'm torn.
Yeah, I think you're indifferent. Good fold, sir.
I'm a little surprised that I folded, to be honest, because I would have thought that I might have. Well, no, I'm sorry. The queen on the river made the fold a lot easier.
yep.
If that queen had been a blank, I think I probably call. Like by blank, I mean under my 10.
Yep.
All right, cool. Next hand, Skate.
All right. Ace 10 off in the in the low jack. Is that too early to open? I'm not sure. Well, whatever.
Yeah, that's a hijack.
The hijack. Excuse me. Cut off hijack. Hijack. Is it too early to open the hijack? I don't know. To be honest, at this point, I think it's gonna be more. Okay, so let's talk about the hand. Ace 10 open. Let's just go with open. Ace 10 off open. I guess Ace 7 on the button. Fold around to Ace 10 off on the cutoff. Excuse me, on the hijack open. Fold around to King 7, which can call because it's suited.
Yep, I think you're good. Ace 10 is definitely a pure open from the hijack. That is a fold.
Yep.
King 6 is a fold. Ace 7
Yep.
is a fold. 9-6
Yep.
is a fold. And King 7 would be a defend to a single raise. Now that we get a raise and a call,
Yeah.
now the King 7, I think, is very cuspy. Maybe it's a defend. I think it's a fold. I think that the charts are going to say fold. Maybe it's a call against population. I don't know. Let's look.
I think
I
I'm
want to go
guessing.
to
I'm guessing the Ace X King X suited is gonna want to call more often than the Queen X and the Jack X, etc.
So we were getting a raise from the hijack. We're going to have we can
Yeah.
call we can call the cutoff here. I think that's calling from the cutoff is going to make this big blind even more of a fold.
So like, what's the offsuit aces that we are opening from the hijack or offsuit?
Offsuit, I think ace 10 is the bottom. Let's take a look. Ace 9.
Yeah.
Ace 9 gets in there. And this is that weirdness that we see sometimes. But yeah, so notice that, look how tight we got to be in the big blind defending. There's no suited kings, not even King 10 suited. This is
Not even.
very,
Wow.
very surprising.
Just because of the call, the cutoff call in the middle.
Yeah, yeah. If we take that call out of the cutoff, that King 7 becomes a defend, I think. It's actually like a 3-bet, like bluffing. We're bluffing these lower kings now. And even if the call comes from the button, which I think is going to change things, and we're in the big blind, we still stay super tight. I mean, look at this range. Look at how tight we have to be.
Okay, so it likes the ace better because maybe I guess the cutoff can be calling some suited as well, so we want better suited. So like, what's the cutoff calling as far as suited hands?
Oh,
I just want to get like a general idea to
Yeah,
see.
good question, because I don't know. I don't have a calling range in the cutoff, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
know. This is what GTO Wizard says is a calling range to a 3x from the hijack.
Okay.
So pretty good skate. Good job raising ace 10. King 7 would have been a defend. Now that we get a call, King 7 is a fold.
Okay. Awesome. Good to know.
And then we'll play this out. Okay, pretty standard. Seems good.
I don't know, like I would have a hard time folding King 10 suited in game, huh?
Yeah, I thought that was really surprising. Did you guys notice this? Larry, did you see that?
Sorry, go ahead. I was distracted. Sorry, say it again.
So hijack raise, cut off or button, call. Big blind does not defend King 10 suited.
That's tight. Well, I guess I would imagine it is because of the 3x RFI.
I think so. I think it's because of the call. I don't know why, but it's kind of tight there.
Yeah, I would imagine if you go to 2.5,
Yeah, let's see it.
it's going to fall in. That's my guess.
Let's hope so. I hope so, Larry, for you.
I'm over
Yeah.
giving up.
I mean,
You
it's,
know
it's
what?
definitely gonna look
Yeah.
at how, yeah, that 3x from 2.5 to 3x is a significant difference.
Yeah, that really
Oh,
changes what we do.
I would have never guessed.
All right, next hand skate.
All right. Okay, so we're in the next hand. Okay, yeah, let's open sevens, fold around to, I don't think king 10 off is too good to 3-bet, to raise bluff there. I think it's gonna come more from the suited, so yeah, let's fold that. King queen can definitely defend. And at that stack depth, I would just probably just jam. Yeah, if I was playing that short.
Oh yeah, okay, good. So we see he's got the tiny stack. King 10 off. You had mentioned possibly 3-betting. That's
No,
definitely not a. You definitely don't want to 3-bet King 10 off here.
no, I was thinking out loud to myself, and I don't want to 3-bet bluff or raise
Okay,
bluff.
good.
Yeah,
Even calling is bad.
yeah, even calling.
So our
King
sevens
queen.
are going to get some action.
I'm surprised the king queen did not jam, but okay. He's still gonna lose all the stack anyways, so bad.
What do we do with sevens?
Sevens is just gonna, with the draws available, we don't have a heart, so which leads me to we're unblocking top pair. We're gonna raise this hand. Let's go ahead and raise.
I like your thinking. I like your thinking about raising bottom set
Yeah,
with all the potential value hands that are still out there, right? I almost wonder about flatting because it's a pot size bet from that guy. And I wonder about not raising because of a pot size bet.
okay. I like your thinking. It's probably gonna definitely mix in the solver. Probably more often. Yeah. So yeah, so I like this this thinking, but we're thinking about sizing, right? So yeah, I like that. It is a pretty big size, so it is gonna want to lead me to call a little bit more than raise. I think.
Because a pot size raise you would raise to if we call it makes it 25. The pot size raise would be basically 50, right? Am I doing that right? Pot size raise would be 50. And that seems excessively big. A half pot size raise would be 35-ish. I don't know if I'm doing that right. So what I do. I do flat, but I'm wondering if we do raise what size. Chris says possibly jam.
I think it's
Mm,
for hero,
Yeah.
you've got too much equity, even multi-way. I mean, this is kind of a scary flop in some ways, but I think you just kind of have to focus on. I mean, essentially folding out two pair is really not profitable. So I try not to do here, but do you mind redoing the action? Because I had to take a call.
Yeah.
This is an
Yep.
interesting, I apologize in advance. So you open, okay, early, horrible flat, flat,
yep.
okay. So, and then donk, right?
They don't. Yep.
He knocks 90% or 80%, whatever that is.
And then your king, queen slow play, is it? But the king, queen doesn't matter. So I think
Yeah.
the one thing to
Yep.
think about here is the king, queen doesn't matter. We don't care about it.
Yep.
All we care about is king. And so you are now playing out of position to king 10.
In position.
I'm sorry, in position is what I meant. I think actually now that I look at this, I think that and he just donked, I think he flat. And is that what you do?
That is what I do. But
I
like,
think that's the answer.
raising bottom set, I think has merit.
It does,
Yeah,
right? It just looks.
Solver does raise bottom set a lot because it's unblocking all the other value.
Mhm.
I agree. They're kind of in a dream scenario here, right? It's kind of a scary flop, but whatever. I think you're in a dream scenario. I like your flat
And
because
then my question about raising is what size?
if you were to raise here,
Yeah.
I think your raise is, I think your raise is like 15.
So
I would
tiny.
I mean, getting a fold here is a disaster,
Right.
but you do have this strategic tension, if you would, between wanting to get stacks in. So if you do choose to raise, I wouldn't do much more than a quick bet. So now raise becomes more interesting, right? You've
Yeah.
got your SPR now is 2. A little bit more. I think your raise becomes more appealing here, and but I still wouldn't go big because again, I think getting a fold is a disaster. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think you could, your generator fold maybe from king 10 here off. Depending on how bad he is, and he's pretty bad, and he's in love with his hand. So, yeah, I mean. So one concept to think about against humans here, I think, guys, is you go back to turn, well, let's look at what he did here, right? He donked pot. And he down bet, but he's still betting. What was his sizing on turn? Yeah, he down bet. Or he went from a B80 to like a B30 or whatever. Less than that, B25. But he likes his hand. I like the raise. I think there's some tension between keeping him in with so much equity and in position raising, but I like your hand. He kind of said he's a little worried about his hand with his sizing till on time.
In hindsight, I like it because I don't think we would have gotten as much chips or max value. If he would have raised, he just would have checked the turn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Yep.
what happened on flop here? I'm confused.
He
6?
he donks 80%.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
he B80s. Okay, call, cool, I like it. Okay, and then you raise, cool, I like it.
I like the raise there. Yep.
So,
What size did you go on the turn?
He went like about a third.
so
Right,
he
he
down
won.
bet, right? I mean, to me, that's a sizing tell. He went from really loving his donk size with his top pair to getting nervous because you got 2 callers.
Yeah, less than half pot.
Yeah, you got like a B40 or something.
I remember this hand because I know what happens next. He does that.
So, okay, so yeah, great, awesome.
And
Dream
clear
come true.
fold. Easy fold, right?
He spazzed out.
Yeah, you fold.
What?
And I mean call.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
spazzed out. He spazzed out.
Yep.
We love the spaz. I don't think you can fold a set there, Chris.
No, what did that was pure, obviously a joke.
Oh, he's joking.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, he dock jammed. He dock jammed, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the dream freak out.
Oh yeah. And if he checks, so we jam. I mean, he checks, we jam, and
Yeah.
I don't hope
Yeah.
that he calls.
Hero's rich. Hero's got 250 big blinds. So, let's just think about this. So we've been watching this table for a couple hours. This is what Hero's waiting for. a bunch of bad players. Finally, someone made a egregious error. We know that we make our money from other people's mistakes, and that's what happened.
Yes.
All right, I'm talking too much. It's your show, Skate. Sorry.
Last one, Skate.
Okay, last one. Let's make it memorable. Fold. Fold around to ace-3 on the button, which is mostly opening the ace-3. It does have some weird folding there and whatever. Ace-3 open, king-6 fold, 10-7. 10-7 is not even that deal. Yeah. So ace-3 open and king-6 fold, but that's not what happens.
Yep, I think you're right. And you're right, ace-3, actually, you're right, ace-2 on the charts, ace-deuce is a fold, and ace-3 has a small frequency of folding, but yeah, I think you can do it all the time.
Yep.
Queen-9 wants to get in on some action here, and it should just fold around.
Yep. Nice. Well done, but not well done, Queen-9.
All right, that's yeah, and that's only 3 orbits. Like we've played 27 hands. We've said that's 3 orbits.
Yeah. So like in real time, what is that like? Maybe 30 minutes, and you've doubled.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously some run good in there, and you get the right flops and that sort of thing.
So
So this is a question Chris says, right? He says, should we always be should always be gaining chips and winning big pots, or is it okay to just be slightly winning and losing chips throughout a session? I don't know if this is the right answer, but anytime you have an edge, no matter how small, you take it, right? And I think in tournaments there's some opposition to that, like you kind of want to give up on small edges. I don't play tournaments, but I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if that's kind of like the right answer.
yeah, I think maybe the way to look at it is not by session. I think it's a question of sample size, Chris. I think that looking at results in a session is too small a sample. I think you really have to look, playing online, you really have to understand win rates or loss rates, hopefully win rates, when you begin to get to above 50,000 hit, right? Above 50,000 or 100,000 hit. And then you can begin to talk about if we're winning or losing. A per session stat doesn't matter because it's just not a big sample size.
Look at this. This happened last week. 42 hands, and I literally did not play a single hand.
That's painful. Was that at a regular table?
Yeah, it was a regular 9-max table.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example of variance, right? I mean, sometimes you're just gonna go card them.
And I think on the other 2 tables during this session that I had this table going on, I was like 9 and not 9/9 and like 10/ like it was just situations, cards. I mean, like we just saw 3 orbits. 3 orbits is not much at all.
No.
It's hardly anything. And I think there's arguments to say that you really don't know your win rate after 100,000 hands. Like it's still in question.
You usually play 3 tables?
Yeah, 3 and 4.
Nice. So you have another question. See, what did you say? So yes, sample size. I've learned to think I'm playing a million hands, and these few hands I'm playing now don't come into play if you get my you're at sample size. Yeah, I think try to be indifferent to losing or winning. Yeah, I mean, being stoic about your day-to-day session is really good. I'm not very good at that. I'm a little too tilty. Maybe a lot. But ideally you're looking at a large sample size to understand if you're winning or losing. And that's the goal, right?
Larry, you want to finish with some marked hands?
Yeah, I've got some. How are you guys doing for time? Mike, how are you doing?
I think I'll be ready to head out here in about 15 minutes.
All right. Guys, you want to continue with some marked hands, or do you want to call it a day? What do you guys want to do? Okay. Well, if we go 3 hours, I think that's probably fine, right?
We're gonna continue tomorrow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought we had
let's,
some- I thought we had some really good discussion over some of these hands. I thought this was good.
yeah, I think so too. I think it was a good session.
Yeah, I learned a little something there, so yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, I mean, so if you could, by the way, if you could have a couple more people, so if you guys know anybody you think would enjoy these sessions, please feel free to send them a link. Chris, we always post in cash study sessions, or I'm sorry, in study sessions on the Poker Coaching Discord. So one thing you can do if you want to make sure you see it is you can go to study groups, right click it, and you can make it a favorite in Discord, and then it kind of moves it to the top of your queue. And you'll see it whenever whenever we post. And so we post again at about 5 o'clock your London time and 11 a.m. Chicago time. It's tomorrow. So I'm going to stop the recording, guys. And yeah.